Zach Berry is here with me as well. We have a new title sponsor. It's the College Corner. It's your one-stop. Welcome into the first edition of the Soft Verbal Podcast in 2021. I'm Neal McCready. Zach Berry is here with me as well. We have a new title sponsor. It's the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area, Jackson, Mississippi. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. And if you don't live in or near Jackson, it's okay. You can still take advantage of their wonderful offerings. You can do us a favor and support our sponsor. Get in touch with them at collegecornerstore.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram. So whether you're tailgating in Oxford or you're home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Don't forget collegecornerstore.com. We'll have some giveaways and such for you as well throughout the course of the next year. They've agreed to sponsor this podcast for the next year. We're putting it in the Oxford Exxon podcast feed. I'll probably load it in the other feed another time or two just so you guys will have it. But if you don't subscribe to the Oxford Exxon podcast feed on YouTube, or I should say SoundCloud, iTunes is what I meant to say originally. Podbean, whatever the case may be, do that. It's going to be in that feed every week. Get the latest on Ole Miss football recruiting and much more. So again, that is brought to you by College Corner Store in Jackson, one place in Ridgeland, one in Flowood, and also collegecornerstore.com. I'm coming to you from the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. Let's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Zach, I know you and I have talked multiple times during the holidays, but the people who haven't talked to you during the holidays, how'd your holidays go?
It was great. Outside of the incident on Christmas Day where we lost internet and cell service, it was great. Just did Christmas Day at the house. Opened up a bunch of gifts. Little man had a big day, and I believe he took like a 2.5-hour nap. So,
oh, good.
It was solid. It was good. How was yours?
Holidays were good. Holidays were fun. It was good to have everybody here and together, and it was nice. We had a nice holiday. I know that I watch a lot of Cooking Network, Food Network. I watch a lot of the Cooking Channel. I watch Iron Chef America routinely.
That's your go-to?
It's my calming show. I can watch Iron Chef America if I'm kind of antsy or something, and it'll calm me right down.
Okay.
Often on Iron Chef America, the chefs or their sous chefs will use a mandolin to cut things really thin. And I have always watched that, Zach, and I've said to myself, I don't think I'm prepared to use a mandolin. A mandolin looks like it could go south in a heartbeat. And so I think I'm going to watch the Bobby Flays and the Michael Simons of the world. I'm going to watch them use the mandolin, and I will admire Wolfgang. I will admire their handiwork and watch from afar as I have a sip of wine, and I'll say to myself, nope, not going to do that. You, Zach Berry, decided, you know what? Hasahiro however you say his name, Maramoto.
Maramoto,
Maramoto. I've seen him use a mandolin. If he can do it, and Bobby Flay can do it, I can do it. So how'd that go?
Well, so we'll give a little preface here. So the day was a roller coaster, Neal. And this is probably akin to like when people talk about how good their fantasy team is doing, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's our show. The day started off with a bang. I took A.J. Brown to score the first touchdown, plus 1050, hit that. Big game. big hit there. Then everything went south. Titans go up 10-0, and then they go into cruise control like they're up 30-0. I don't know what Arthur Smith was doing. Mike Vrabel, I'm sure Lane Kiffin was just like squirming in his chair or in his boat or whatever he was doing if he was watching or listening to the game. 4th and 2 on the Ravens 40, and they don't go for it. After throwing for it on 3rd down, which to me signals if you're throwing for it on 3rd and 2, then you're going to go for it on 4th and 2 if you don't get it. Titans end up losing, whatever. So we watched the Bears game with some friends. We have some, we did some, good friend of mine, Mizzou grad. Shout out to Gabe and Power Mizzou. She made some nice steak salad, and we had some little bit of fillets. Left there, came home, put little man to bed, turned on the Browns game. Before we left, I had thrown some money down on Browns money line. So obviously that was looking real nice. Browns go up 35-0. We had just got a new air fryer, Neal. And so I was like, I want a little snack. So I was like, what can I do? It's super easy. I was like, oh, I'll make nachos. So for whatever reason, don't know why, I was telling you this before we started, I don't know why I thought onions would be good on a nacho. Got an onion out of the fridge, got the mandolin out. And you know, Neal, they have a tool that comes with the mandolin that you can put items in to avoid this issue that I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Didn't use that. Try to be a hero, and boom, shaved off a little bit of my pinky and my ring finger. Kind of jumped back when it happened, looked, I was like, Anna was like, how bad is it? Because I've had an accident in the kitchen before. I had to get stitches. And I was like, and then I looked, and it was just bleeding all down my hand. And I was like, yeah, it's bad. So we had to call one of my buddies to come pick me up to take me because he was asleep, and it was 10:30. But hey, shout out to the emergency room. In and out about 35 minutes.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. So that no stitches were needed. They can't really do that for this. Anna actually took the pieces of my finger off of the mandolin and put it in a paper towel in the Ziploc bag. And she was like, I guess just take it to see if they need it. Didn't need it. I mean, modern medicine is wild. They have this stuff called Surgisil that is basically, it looks like a Band-Aid, but they just put it on the wound, and it helps clot the wound and then heals it. And then they just wrap it up and some wraps. So I just have this almost like a P. Willie like club on my pinky because that one was worse than the ring finger. And here we are. So yeah, if you're using a mandolin, they do. They told me at the ER they do sell gloves that are like chainmail, like mesh, to where you can't cut your finger, cut your hand with a knife. But yeah, use the tool that they have for the mandolin when you're cutting something. That's a pro tip.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Browns won, so the money line bet hit. I had a couple other props that hit. So all in all, I actually came out on top with the copay.
So yeah, it's good. Yes, Browns looked great yesterday. That was wild.
Oh man.
All right, so let's talk some recruiting.
Okay.
It's Lane Kiffin always uses the number like 95% done after the early period. I don't know if that's checkable math because I guess of the 25, they've got what, about 3-4 spots remaining. Is that right?
Yeah, you and I both said it from talking with folks. I think the number is 3, but I don't know that 100%. But that's just kind of the number I keep hearing. To where Tywone Malone's the guy in February. I think if they could get Trevin Wallace. I don't know the situation with Travis Williams at Auburn, if he's going to be retained or not. If he's not retained, I think that puts Ole Miss back in it. They would certainly take him if he wanted to come. And then, as we said it on this podcast, it's transfer portal, best available. If it's a position of need, there's been some guys that have popped in of late, as late as yesterday, that I think that they would gladly welcome to Oxford. So.
Yeah, this transfer portal thing is going to be something we're going to talk about, I think, for the next 6 to 7 months. And this transfer portal thing is crazy. There are so many guys in the portal, and there are a very limited number of openings because I think there is a belief, and this is not me talking down to fans at all. I'm explaining this. We get paid to keep up with this stuff. You guys don't. There's a belief among some, not many. I think we've done some educating as we've gone along. But there's a belief that, yeah, you can just take as many transfers as you want. That, you had a limit on 85 scholarships, but that, hey, you just take them and then you can process guys off your own team and you can have this mass turnover. So you could sign 25 freshmen and then you can take 8 transfers and turn over half your roster. And that's not how it works. You have 25 initial national letters of intent. 25. So if you take 3 transfers, you have 22 left. If you take 10 transfers, that's cool. You got 15 left.
Mm-hmm.
Do the math. Ole Miss signed 22, 23 guys. Not all of those guys are going to qualify in all likelihood. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 that won't. There'll be something that will happen from an attrition standpoint, but they're limited on the number of transfers that they can take. So they're going to have to be really careful about selective, I think is the better word, about who they're going to take and who they're not going to take. And you're going to hear a lot of names. And I'll be honest, Zach, I get a little nervous about reporting names because I have no doubt that there are going to be some guys that want to transfer to Ole Miss. I've got some reservations about confirming through Ole Miss, hey, are you taking these people? And, a lot of these – and then here's the other thing, and I wrote about this a little bit in 10 Weekend Thoughts, which is up at rebelgrove.com. The one-time no penalty transfer thing that everyone believes is going to pass, and I believe is going to pass, was scheduled to pass as early as today.
Mm-hmm.
It's not passing today. It's got tabled. And no one knows exactly how long it's been tabled. And a lot of people think it's because the rules are going to be made even more favorable for the student athlete. But regardless of all that, what we don't know is when this is going to get done, and is it going to get done in time for the student athlete to be eligible to play in August. And the mass belief is, yes, it will, that's going to be taken care of. But unless you know for sure, you have to be a little bit careful as to who you take and when you take them, because if that's the case, you're much better off taking a grad transfer than you are a transfer, because the grad transfer will be eligible because of the way the rules have been passed. And the immediate transfer might not be ready because that legislation, if you will, has been put on hold.
Yeah. And I looked it up to get the actual number. Ole Miss signed 24, 25 total commitments, but Daniel Bethel, the punter, is walking on. So they signed 24. And, talking about, the number, what you can do, Mike Norvell and Florida State are testing that over the weekend. I think they added like 3 or 4.
So let me ask this. They signed 24. Of that 24, how many count back on the old number?
I don't know that. That's a great question. I actually do not know the answer to that.
Because the math,
that's such a weird gray area.
It is. The math there is critical because let's say that you can't sign any, and that's not the way it is. There's at least 2, I think, that you can sign. That you couldn't sign any right now. Having signed 24, you only have room for 1 more guy.
Yeah.
So I think that 2 to 4 count on the old number, which tells you how many they have available. I don't have. Right. I know people are going to lose their minds and say, "Why can't you give me firm numbers?" and I get it. Believe me, I understand that frustration. But I don't know that. I don't know that we know the firm numbers, and I think that's something they're trying to really keep in house.
Yeah, I answered somebody on the board earlier, and their name is escaping me right now. I can't remember who it was. I think it was UMMC Reb asked, and that's what I said. I said there's no real way for us to know 100%. Mainly because there's so many moving parts, but also they keep it pretty tight-lipped over there.
And they might not know.
Yeah, that's another great point is they don't know. And then, it's a lot of thinking on your feet and kind of shooting from the hip with this because people are jumping in the portal so fast. I mean, yesterday, right before I was headed to the ER, you had 2 Auburn defensive linemen jump in that are both going to be highly sought after.
Yeah.
Big Cat Bryant's the name everybody knows, all SEC guy. He's going to be, I think a lot of people in the SEC are going to be going after him. But
See,
it's
I'm
just
going to interrupt you on Big Cat because
okay.
I think when guys like that enter the portal, they know where they're going.
Could be, and he's a grad transfer. He already got his degree from Auburn, so
My
he's
guess is
immediately.
that, my guess is that he knows his destination.
Yeah, I was told he wants to stay SEC.
Okay.
I think his family wants him somewhat local. He's originally from Georgia. But yeah, it's just tough to really say because it really is such a hard thing to gauge because it is best available. It is, if somebody like Big Cat Bryant was like, hey, I want to come to Ole Miss, you're going to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, that moment.
Because, yeah, he would immediately be a top 2 player on your defense. So a lot of moving parts. And then, yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of things. You can offer gray shirts. You can offer blue shirts to guys that you've signed. And that's just kind of the business that you're in. And that's absolutely what Lane Kiffin and them are going to do because, look, he's in the business of winning and winning now. He's going to do whatever it takes to field the best team in 2021 and to have a better season than they had this year. Now, I know, obviously, 2020 was a, very different season, all SEC. Next season, hopefully, knock on wood, is going to be back to normal with non-con and having a regular SEC schedule. But, yeah, I mean, if a guy like Big Cat Bryant or somebody else that's in the portal is wanting to come, they're going to, if they want to come to Ole Miss, if they can do it, they're going to shake some things around and move some pieces to bring them in because we've talked about it, as well as I know, Kiffin's not, this isn't some 5-year plan. This is a immediate plan to win.
Yeah, it's a plan to start right now. They want to.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to win. He wants to win the SEC next season. I don't know if that's realistic or not. In fact, I don't think it is, but that's the goal. He's not going to be Mr. Patient building some
No.
6-year plan. Just not the way it works. No, and frankly, nobody should these days. I know you've talked about Jahcour Pearson, the Western Kentucky wide receiver. What do you anticipate there? Speaking of transfer portals,
so I'd spoken with him here and there the last month or so. He told me initially a couple schools had reached out. He had talked to some FCS schools, but I had the initial thought that he was wanting to go Power 5 to play. Obviously wanting to improve that draft stock, play against the best. He got back to me and I guess it was on Saturday, told me that he was transferring to Ole Miss. Said he's gonna, I guess, officially, quote unquote, officially announce like via Twitter or Instagram, whatever, sometime soon. So I kind of held off on saying anything just to make sure that everything was above board and official. And then he told me, he was like, hey, if you wanted to go ahead and report it, go ahead. I'm not going to do anything till this week. But I mean, that's a very productive group of 5 receiver. Had really good numbers at Western Kentucky. He only played in 2 games in 2020, played against Liberty and Louisville, and then ended up opting out for the season. And then I think he essentially opted out to get ready for making the jump to Power 5 if he could. So I think he kind of took it as like an off season to get himself ready, working out, get in the weight room, route running, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's a lot of Elijah Moore vibes from his film. He's a slot guy, not very big, but he's super shifty, really good route runner. Not as fast as Elijah, but I think he's kind of got that game speed where he just kind of just gets open. He just finds ways to get open. And I mean, he had over 1,000 yards for his career at Western Kentucky, 7 touchdowns, over 100 catches. So he will be a guy I think that will join JJ Henry in the slot to try to placate the huge hole that Elijah Moore is leaving there.
So we're sort of waiting on that story just to let him announce it publicly.
Yeah. And then like you said, I mean, kind of need to get some kind of confirmation from Ole Miss that he's accepted because, he told me I'm transferring to Ole Miss. And I mean, it's hard to get a lot out of these kids. They don't really like talking. So it wasn't like he told me, oh, like Coach Nix told me I have a spot. So I'm kind of wanting to tread lightly there before we run anything. I mean, I would assume that everything's okay there and that, I mean, they need help at receiver. So that's kind of where we're at now, but it seems like he's going to transfer to Ole Miss.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Yeah, I know that there's another offensive transfer that they're I think they have wrapped up, that they're waiting for the right time to announce that. And then there's another, I guess, couple of spots. I mean, I guess I don't know. It seems to me that they want to do something on the offensive line. They probably need to do something on the offensive line, but maybe not. I know that they definitely need to do something more on the defensive line. That's Ole Miss was just deficient there over the course of the season.
Yeah.
I would think you want to add a couple of defensive impact guys if at all possible. But like you said, everyone else is going to be after these same guys too. So it's going to be interesting. And then there's going to be, and frankly, it's going to be sad when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be a ton of guys in the transfer portal that do not find a home. It is going to be stunning to them. But it is what it is. Hey, before we shift gears a little bit, I'll tell you the soft verbal also brought to you by Daniel Barfield, Barfield Wealth Management, founded in 2000. Daniel Barfield has been serving individuals and businesses in the Oxford and North Mississippi area for more than 20 years. He carries both CFP and CPA designations, is affiliated with the Advisors Resource Council, a registered investment advisory firm with offices in Oxford, New Orleans, Dallas, and the surrounding areas. Daniel Barfield and his staff offer comprehensive financial planning, including investment management, estate and tax planning, insurance planning, and business retirement plans. He wants to thank his current clients for putting the trust in him and his firm, and they welcome new clients interested in learning how BWM can help achieve their financial goals. So please contact Daniel Barfield at 662-236-6454 or visit his site at barfieldwealthmanagement.com to learn how he can help you. It's also brought to you by Bill E's Small Batch Bacon. My old friend William Stitt has mastered, and I do mean mastered, the art of bacon. Bill E has spent 3 decades in the restaurant and hospitality business, and bacon is his passion. Billy uses bacon selected from the finest hogs, hand-turned every 2 hours in small batches, rubbed with nitrate-free pink curing salt and brown sugar molasses, and serenaded by local singers and songwriters behind the stage at Old 27 Grill, Stitt's Restaurant and Grocery in Fairhope, Alabama. Billy has perfected the bacon curing process. It takes 8 days to perfectly cure bacon, not 7, not 9, 8. So try Billy's Bacon. You may never eat supermarket bacon again. Go to billysbacon.com. That's BILLES bacon.com and try it today. If you order 5 pounds or more, you get a free Billy's Bacon hat. All right. So a lot of the attention, Zach, is going to be on Taiwon Malone come February, assuming that guys can sign in February. The calendar's been shifted. I don't think that affects the kids this year.
I don't think so.
I could be wrong. I don't think so, though. Anyway, what's the latest on Malone? I know he's taking a visit or two and kind of looking around as the clock starts to tick.
So he took a visit to Tallahassee over the weekend, went to see Florida State. I think this is a 3-team race. I'm leaning towards it's a 2-team race between Ole Miss and A&M. Went to Florida State, though. They've been on him pretty hard. Wanted to go down, check out the campus, wanted to go see the baseball facilities, and spent the weekend there. I don't even know if he, received a quote unquote visit bump. I mean, visits, it wasn't an official visit. It was all unofficial. It was all on his dime, all on his schedule. So I guess it's kind of hard to get some kind of visit bump because you're not meeting with coaches and getting the whole sales pitch there. But he went, saw baseball. I believe Florida State's practicing, so I'm sure he got to swing by Dick Howser Stadium, maybe see the baseball team practice. Can't talk to staff, so it was just a matter of probably sitting in the bleachers or walking the concourse.
Ludicrous.
I don't really anticipate.
It's ludicrous. It is ludicrous that he can't talk to coaches at Florida State, at Tennessee, at Ole Miss, at Texas A&M, wherever.
Yeah.
It's the thought that, okay, so I'll shut up. It's just not worth it. It's not worth getting into. It's dumb.
Yeah. So he was there. He keeps things pretty buttoned up. He's very quiet. He doesn't talk a lot. But he wanted to go see it. I'm pretty sure he's down to those 3 schools. The plan now is for him to take visits to Texas A&M and then to Oxford as well before signing day. The latest I heard is he's going to try to squeeze in Knoxville. I don't know if he's either going to have enough time or if he will need to. You know as well as I know, a lot of a lot of moving parts in Knoxville. What's Jeremy Pruitt's future there?
Yep.
Still don't think they have a defensive line coach there. And Brumbaugh was who was recruiting him.
He's got a hiring freeze too. Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah,
the answer to your question is it's an absolute mess there. Nobody really knows.
Yeah, I mean, I think contracts there expire on the 31st. So that's something to keep an eye on. Particularly, someone by the name of T. Martin's contract expires the 31st. He will be a hot name everywhere. Yeah. But my thought on this, because we've talked about it, I know Chase has mentioned it on the Oxford Exxon podcast. Ole Miss has the lead here, and I think it's a pretty substantial lead. And I think that if he were to return to Oxford, I think that that's a sign that it's solidifying things. There's nothing that you can really do because it's not an official visit. So it's him going on his own to go see places. And this time last year, he was in Oxford. He met with the coaches. He's seen the facilities. He's done the uniform try-on photo shoot with, did the whole in football pads and had the baseball bat on his shoulder like Jerry Neely and Plumlee did. So a lot of familiarity there. And then, I just mentioned the two guys that are two-sport athletes at Ole Miss. I think that helps them a ton. He knows that Ole Miss has guys that have done both, and they're more than happy to let them play both, be flexible. He's very serious about baseball. This is not just some big guy that's just like, I'm just going to play baseball in the spring to stay in shape. No, he's a legitimate baseball prospect. And I think that right now, it's really hard to tell without talking to him what Florida State actually, quote unquote, showed him, because it's not an official visit. But I'm of the belief that if he makes it back to Oxford for one more before signing day, that's a really good sign for Kiffin, for Chris Partridge, for Carl Lafferty, and Mike Bianco.
So outside of Malone, and you mentioned Brevin Wallace, are there any other high school guys to keep an eye on, or is that pretty much it?
I don't think so. I think that, like I mentioned, Travis Williams, if he's going to be retained by Brian Harsin or not. If he's not, I think that's something to keep an eye on with Trevin Wallace, because he was really tight with Williams. And if Brian Harsin's bringing in his own crew, that could change things. I know Harsin's already spoken with him. They've talked. So there is some kind of communication going on there. And I think that it was pretty obvious that he wanted to go to Auburn.
Yeah.
And then with the shakeup with Gus and everything, and then Kevin Steele wasn't given the job. I think if Kevin Steele had been promoted, he would have go ahead and pulled the trigger and gone to Auburn. So I think he's thinking about it, but that's really the only other high school guy. I don't think Ty Cooper's in there anymore. I think Ty Cooper's going to sign with Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I think it was going to be like that anyway. I think he just wanted to kind of take a break from recruiting and just relax. But I think he's going to sign with State. So, I mean, that's really the two high school guys that I would say are even on Ole Miss's radar right now. And, I mean, I think it's only Tywone Malone.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the only one. Because I'm with you. I think Wallace is going to end up at Auburn. It's pretty obvious that's pretty obvious. That's what he wants to do. So a lot of the attention, Zach, has already started on the 2022 class. We're not going to break that down today. We're going to do that over the course of the next few weeks and months. We'll really dive into that class. Ole Miss is going to have a full complement of scholarships. They're going to have another kind of now they have a season. They're going to have whatever this off season looks like to really evaluate what their roster is and to go from there. People have asked me, like, what's the priority going in the next season? I think very quickly they're to a place where you're in another year of you take the best available players, put them on the roster, and then figure it out. I don't think they're to the place yet where they're like, okay, well, we have a need for 3 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers, and I don't think they're there yet. I think they're still in roster renovation.
I think so too. And the plan has always been to go national. They have a staff that can do that. And I think that they're going to be very, very selective with who they focus on. But, I've talked to a couple in-state guys. Marquez Dortch committed, the athlete out of George County. Very, very high praise from a lot of folks I've talked to in state. There are some that think that he could end up being better than MJ Daniels. And that's high praise because MJ was very, very highly sought after by several Power 5 schools and ended up signing with Ole Miss. And similar game to MJ, but I think he's going to find his home on the offensive side of the ball. For a high school guy, he's pretty impressive. He runs good routes and he's really explosive with the ball in his hands. So I think that he'll find his home at receiver if he were to sign with Ole Miss. And Ole Miss needs to revamp that receiver room. Also talked with Blake Gunter, tight end out of Madison Central. I know you and I talked about him. You were impressed seeing him play in person, and
I saw him in the state playoffs against Oxford, and what was one of the better high school games that I've seen in a long time. Oxford won kind of on the last play of the game. It was a great, entertaining, fun game. It was nerve-wracking because I was cheering for Oxford, and you don't know whether that's going to be the last time that – I didn't know whether that was going to be the last game that Caroline would dance or they get to play another game and all that stuff. So it was kind of nerve-wracking with all that. But he was a physical presence, very athletic. I could see him thriving in Jeff Levy and Lane Kiffin's offense. He's a guy that they used him out wide. They used him over the middle. He's a big body kid, good hands, appeared to have great hands. Oxford really had no answer for him. And Oxford played some other teams where they could put, and I can't remember the young man's name. They had a DB. I think might be going to like Arkansas State is where I think he signed. They have they have a DB that they could put him on a really good receiver and take that away from another team and sort of stop, because a lot of high school teams have one receiver they go to in big moments, and they would put him on that receiver and take him away. They couldn't do that against Madison Central, and it's the reason Madison Central damn near won the game.
Yeah, that one stung when I was talking with him. He kind of perked up when I asked him about, how's Madison Central going to be next year? And he talks about that game and how they let that one slip away. I think he said they had 2 touchdowns called back, and he said that it was a great game and Oxford just got him at the end. But yeah, he seems to, I would say, be leaning a little Ole Miss. Now he has a legacy. His father, Bubba, played a linebacker at Ole Miss in the 90s. And then his brother, Grayson, originally signed with Arkansas, and then now he's at Southern Miss. But both his dad and his brother are both big, so he may not be finished growing. I think he's every bit of 6'3", 230 right now. But yeah, I mean,
big kid.
They use him. Yeah, they use him a lot of ways, kind of what Joe John Finley and Levy do in their offense. He talked a lot about how that really sparked his interest in Ole Miss with how they, he was like, man, the tight end position is so underutilized in college, and it was good for him to see Ole Miss's, product on the field this year, getting Yeboah the ball. Yeboah had big games against, Alabama, played really well against Florida. So that was, we talk about having the sales pitch of putting something on the field because you can't talk to kids in person. You can't have them on campus. And that resonated with him. So, I think he's going to be a name to know moving forward in 2022. Neal, you would have liked it. In the interview, he said, hey, he's like, I'm not doing a top schools list. I'm not doing any. He's like, I'm not a guy that's going to do all the drama.
Amen.
Like when I know where I want to go, I'm just going to, tweet it out, and that'll be that. So
I don't mind when the guy does a top 3 because I can see how you could seriously contemplate 3 schools. Okay, I get that. But when a guy goes, here's my top 20, shut up. Stop. You're not going to. Number one, you're not going to look at 20 schools. Number 2, even if you do look at 20 schools, you're not going to seriously consider 20 schools. You're not going to do. No. You're not going to consider 12 schools. You're not going to consider 10 schools. You may possibly, maybe, kind of consider 5 schools. Anything more than 5, and I'm accusing you of being a drama queen. That moment, you're looking for attention right now. That's it. You're wanting retweets and likes and Instagrams, and you're doing edits. You're not really considering 10 schools all over the country from USC to Florida and including Oklahoma and Iowa State and Arkansas and Ole Miss and Tech. No, you're not. That's a joke. You might be down to when a kid tells me, yeah, I'm down to Auburn, Alabama, and Georgia. Okay, I get it. You're really torn. A kid comes down and goes, I'm down to Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and I'm kind of thinking about LSU. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Kid says, I'm down to Texas and Texas A&M, and I'm just torn. Get it. But when you do the 12 schools and I'm wide open, nah, you're playing games. You hadn't even started thinking about it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or you know where you're going and you don't want to stop the attention. And I'm cool with it too, but I'm the guy that when people say, why don't you write a story when a breathless story, and there are sites that do this, the breathless story of Joe Smith releases his top 15. Ooh, here they are. And here's what he said about all 15 schools. And the quotes are all the same. It's, well, I really like Coach Harris. I really like Coach Roberts. I really like Coach Johnson. I really like their program. And they say I can win with them. Stop. You're not, this isn't serious. It's not, when people do that, that's, people accuse us of clickbait. That's clickbait. That's taking a tweet from a kid and making a story out of it because you had some number of stories that you had to write this month, and you took a kid's tweet about, here's my top 14, and you wrote that story, and here's the truth. It's disingenuous. That's all. And so we don't do it, and people say, why don't y'all write more? And it's like, okay, boil down what we do write and compare it to what other people write and tell me if you actually learned something. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'll pretty much gotten to the point now where if a kid does a top schools list, if it pertains to Ole Miss, if Ole Miss is seriously being considered or going after the kid, yeah, I'll put it on the board. But yeah, I mean, if they're doing the, like, you know, the tweets, my favorites are when they're like, these are the ones showing love, and it's like all 25 of their offers, and it's like, all right, come on, man, I get it. Have fun with it, but no.
Yeah. And I don't, I don't blame the kid, because if that impresses the girls, go for it, man. Hey, have at it. I get it, but we're not going to turn that into a story. That's all I'm saying. So before it goes, oh, you're attacking the kids. I'm not attacking the kids. The kids can do whatever they want to do. It's all good, but we're not going to turn that into a story. We're not really going to pay attention until a kid puts Ole Miss in his top 5.
Yeah,
5 is the number that when you put 5, I'm like, okay, well now we're actually starting to get serious.
Yeah. I mean, hey, yeah, capitalism, baby. You do you. Sell yourself.
Sell yourself. And if that makes that pretty thing a little more interested in you, then hey, who am I to blame you? I use all the weapons at your disposal, but we're just not going to turn it into a story. That's all. Because I get that pushback. Why don't y'all write more recruiting? I'm like, well, maybe you should pay attention to what recruiting we're writing and how we write it, because quantity is not always quality. That's it.
Yeah. But looking at 2022 in Mississippi, the number 1 player, Kamari Rogers, decommitted from LSU. He's from Holmes County. He's going to be a guy that they're really going after. Terrell Buckley, Derek Nix are really keen on him. Jaheim Otis, the gargantuan defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You know, former teammate of Kentrell Bullock, who's now on the roster at Ole Miss. Everybody's going to want him. I've talked to Bryson Hurst a lot, the kid from Gaudier. That's how you say it, right? Gaucher, down the coast. I've exchanged some messages with him. He said he's hearing from Ole Miss. He likes what he's seen watching games this year. One thing that stood out to me, Neal, when I was talking with Blake Gunner, he mentioned he's really good friends with Stone Blanton, who I've talked to a couple times. Committed to Mississippi State for baseball, but Blake, you know, said that they talk a lot about recruiting, and I've talked with Stone and I've put it on the board. I'm thinking more and more that Stone's leaning more towards football at this point. He plays baseball. He's a really good baseball player, but he's told me that he's going to let football lead his recruitment. And I think with the way his offer sheet is blowing up right now, I mean, he's adding Power 5 offers weekly that are from, you know, Michigan, Oregon. He's going to blow up, and that's, you know, inside linebacker. That's a position of need. Ole Miss is really recruiting him hard. And then I guess the only other names in the top 10 that I'd look at, Branson Robinson, the running back from Germantown, another guy that's had tons and tons of Power 5 offers. Alabama's offered him, Michigan's offered him. And then his teammate, Xavier Harris, another huge defensive tackle. Those are probably right now the big names in state. And then after that, they're going to go national. But We'll get more into 2022 as the month and the year goes on after signing day.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
We are also brought to you by Max Coastal Insurance. It's a full-service independent insurance agency located in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, right there by Gaucher. They're dedicated to serving the area and their customers with insurance solutions, whatever the situation is. With their one-stop insurance solutions, they can help you with full complement coverage or augmenting your existing insurance. They'll help you find the right auto insurance, home insurance, and more to fit your exact needs in Ocean Springs and the surrounding area. Having insurance coverage for whatever your needs are is crucial. You never want to be in a situation where you don't have insurance, because this could cause major issues to your life or business. Legal problems can arise, and if you don't have insurance, you're out of luck. At Max Coastal Insurance, they try and help their customers get coverage so they don't have to worry about problems down the road. If you're looking for a specific type of insurance, they can help you find those with auto insurance, boat insurance, business insurance, homeowners, life, motorcycle, personal insurance, renters insurance, RV insurance, umbrella insurance, workers' compensation, and more. You can give them a call, 228-990-5710, or visit them online at maxcoastal.com. That's MACS coastal.com.
We are also proud to welcome Kelly English to the Soft Verbal family. Dear friend of mine, known him for quite some time, Ole Miss alum, probably one of the most well-known restaurateurs in Memphis, very well respected, does a ton for the community there. If you like New Orleans inspired cuisine, then Kelly English and the wonderful crew that he has at Second Line and Restaurant Iris, that's where you need to go for all of his fantastic food. You can also check him out down on the coast at Magnolia House down at Harris Gulf Coast. He's got another restaurant down there. And he just now dipped into the Italian deli and catering, I should say, at Fino's in Memphis over there on Madison Avenue. They do catering there. They are doing takeout. I haven't asked Kelly if they've changed things there. I don't know if they have dine-in or not yet, but you can go in and get you a nice deli sandwich. Go check them out at finosmemphis.com. That's FINOS Memphis.com. They're on Seamless. They're on Grubhub. You can do that. And then Second Line and Restaurant Iris side by side there in the Midtown area of Memphis. Check them out at secondlinememphis.com. They're on Monroe. I'm partial to the lunch at Second Line. I don't know how you take your cheeseburger, Neal, but they do it on French bread, and it is phenomenal. Drink specials there, happy hour. They have a great patio. They have TVs out there. Probably a little chilly tonight, but you could go enjoy a cheeseburger, enjoy some kind of New Orleans style plate, and sit out there, have you a beer, have you a cocktail, watch some sports. But yeah, pleased to welcome Kelly to the family. Yeah, check him out. Second Line, Restaurant Iris, Fino's, or down at Magnolia House in Biloxi.
Awesome. And I know that he would be much better with the mandolin than one Zach Berry. Zach knows his recruiting, but I would trust Kelly over Zach.
That's right.
With the mandolin. So we'll come back next week. We're kind of thinking about doing this early in the week. We have a lot of podcasts that we do late in the week. We're thinking about making this one early in the week. We'd love your feedback on that as we get going. We're taping this on Monday, January the 11th, and at the 10 o'clock hour. So we might shoot for making that kind of a regular thing. But we're open to suggestions as well. So thanks to all of our new advertisers, all the people who are making this show possible. Really appreciate it. And again, thanks to the College Corner Store for becoming the title sponsor to this. It's collegecornerstore.com. And don't forget, they're in Ridgeland next to Fleet Feet, and in Flowood, they're next to Half Shell there in the Jackson area, the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Please get in touch with them and get your next piece of Rebel gear from them, and tell them that you are with them because of their sponsorship of Zach and the Soft Verbal Podcast. So until next time, for Zach Berry, I'm Neal McCready. That does it for this edition of the Soft Verbal Podcast. Talk to you soon. Bye.